Hi, this is Mary, and today we're making bread. This is my version of a sourdough bread that is extremely easy. Only technically takes 5 minutes a day once you get it going. So let me show you what I've got here. I've got 6.5 cups of flour here. This is an organic, non-GMO flour because that's what I happen to use. I have 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, which 1.5 tablespoons equals 4.5 teaspoons. And same thing with salt. This is a kosher salt. It's the big granules, not the real fine stuff. There is 1.5 tablespoons or 4.5 teaspoons of salt here. And this is how I get it sour. When I make a batch, I always leave a little bit of the bread into the container for the next batch. This is soured. So what I'm going to do, I've got 3 cups of warm water in here. I'm going to pour this in here with my leftover bits and pieces in here and my chunks that I left in here. I'm going to scrape all this good stuff in here because that's where that sour flavor is going to come from. And then this is the liquid that I'm going to use to pour into the bread dough here. So this will just take me a minute or so to get this all broke down in here. And if you pan into here, they can see I'm just taking and loosening all the little bits of bread that got left in here and some of these big chunks that I left in here purposely when I used the last bit of dough. So we're just going to scrape this down in here, kind of mash it in. The water's going to look milky from the dough, and that's okay. Like I said, this is where it's going to get its flavor. I've been working out of this same tub here for, I don't know, about a year, making bread off and on and leaving the little bits in here for the next batch. And then after I get this mixed, it's going to raise. And I'm going to leave some of it sit out overnight for a couple nights before I put the extra dough back in the refrigerator for the next set of bread. So I've got this all broken up in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour all this nice warm water with these bits into my mixer here. This is going to be really easy because you don't have to knead it or anything else. I'm going to put the salt in there. I'm going to put the yeast in there. Let me grab a towel here. And we're just going to mix it up. We're going to start really slow so it doesn't splash all over. And if you want to pan down in here, they can just see it's basically mixing up all that dough in there. And we're not going to overmix this. We're just going to leave it on. I'm going to just kind of stir it up a bit. Let it turn on again just to make sure it's well mixed. And then we're going to set it to rise. No specific time on this, I'm just looking for it to see that it's all well mixed. Okay, so you can see I've got a really nice dough going here. And it looks a little on the thin side, so I'm just going to sprinkle just a tiny bit more flour in there so it's not quite so sticky. I always do that. I always make a flour mess when I bake. Nothing unusual for me. Okay. So now we're going to put this dough back into this container I just took it out of. you can see that didn't take me very long at all to get that all mixed up. And I'm going to put it over into this tub here. And I'm not even going to grease the tub or anything. I'm just going to dump it in there. Okay. So now I got the dough in here. We're going to let this rise for 3 or 4 hours till it gets nice and tall. And then I'll come back and show you how I bake it. So I'm going to stop the video for now, and we'll come back later once this has had time to rise up. Thank you. Okay, so we're back. I left this set for several hours, and you can see that it's rose really tall in there. So now we're going to get a little messy here. We're going to take a little flour, put on our hands, and we're going to dig in here, and we're going to pull out a nice good sized ball of dough here. Kind of sticky here still.
You need some more flour.
I'm going to get some more flour here. Okay, now I'm just going to fold this around a few times like this. I'm going to make a dough ball. And then what I have here is a cast iron pan that I put some olive oil in, and that's just a layer of cornmeal to keep this from sticking to the bottom of the pan once it's cooked. So as you can see, this is a pretty wet, sticky dough. I'm going to get that in there. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more here because I want a good sized loaf of bread. Okay, so we're going to let that sit in the pan there, now that I've played with it, for about 20-30 minutes. Then I'm going to place it in my toaster oven at 350 for about an hour. Once it's cooked, I'm going to pull it out of that toaster oven and let you have a look at it. Okay, so we are back. We have baked this loaf of bread for approximately an hour in this cast iron skillet. I'm going to pull that out for you. Nice looking loaf of bread. So you notice it came right out of the pan. So let's cut into this. It's pretty hot still. You can hear how crusty it is. It smells really good. Look at that nice loaf of bread. Got all those nice holes in it. I'm going to have to use a hot pad. This is still, like I said, pretty warm here still. And there we have it. Our sourdough bread. And like I said, it only takes a few minutes. The rest of the dough is sitting here. I'm going to let it sit out for a day or so. Put it back in the refrigerator. I'm not going to feed it or anything else. In about a week or so, when I need a loaf of bread, I'm just going to pull it out, put it in the pan after it comes to room temperature, bake it. It's that easy. And stay tuned for future videos. Hit the like and subscribe button, please.